Welcome to our Dashing Dad run through Resident Evil The Village. This is part 4. We're going to attack the Stronghold, find our 4th Rose Flask, take that Rose Flask and get the Giant's Chalice, use the Giant's Chalice to cross over to Heisenberg's factory, and eventually deal with Heisenberg. If you've been watching our speed run, you know that we're pushing as hard as I can. I'm sure there are players that can do it better and faster, but you know, as fast as I could do it. I'm taking a different approach to the Stronghold here than any other gameplay I've done with Resident Evil Village, and that's to try to run to the end of each area, each section, as quickly as possible. What I noticed in some of my previous runs was that as you reach the end points, the stuff behind it stops spawning. If you stay down there and fight with those wolves out in the rocky formations before you get here, there's a lot of them that you can fight with, and there's multiple archers, and it can be kind of dangerous. Also, here in this part of getting to the first gate, there are a lot more werewolves than you saw. And just by getting to these levers and pulling the levers seem to stop the spawning of those. Now, of course, pulling one of the levers starts another assault, and we're going to have to wait for that gate to open. So there's a little bit of a risk right here. I'm kind of out in the open. I'm not shooting very well, but I'm mostly just trying to keep them back. Not necessarily trying to kill them, I'll just keep them off of me while I wait for the gate to open. Once the gate's open, you see they all just disappeared. There were ones that I didn't kill there that just went away. So if you keep that in mind for your speed run, that'll make it go much faster. I wasn't confident that this next section was going to work that way, so I decided to go ahead and save. Usually that's a little bit of a waste of time, especially in a game that does autosaves for you. But I wasn't sure this approach was going to work. But I'm going to do the same thing here. My goal here is to get to the very top of this area, spawn the top fight with the big wolf. It's not one of the. It's a werewolf. It's not one of the big four-legged beasts. But falling down there was kind of a mistake. That I meant to shoot those two and then climb over them. Going down there wound up not too bad because it wound up with a whole bunch of the Lycan going down there. Now you can see them, kind of a second wave of them starting to come, jumping across those pillars. I'll zip line right through them, like they're not even there. Just hanging out there. And this seemed like where the biggest gamble is. This gamble is there's usually archers and things, and there's a whole bunch of Lycan that you have to deal with here. Instead, I just run. And surprise, I get all the way up here, and as soon as he says, "Okay, big guy," that's your sign that everything behind you is basically done. You're now on the last phases. I missed one here. He hits me. He was behind the corner. And it really surprised me that worked. But that was just, if you just run straight through it, that shows you how Resident Evil the difficulty will play with your mind. You will make things. The real difficulty of the games are yourself. You make the situations much harder than they needed to be, because that approach would have always worked. But instead, I've sat in there and killed 50 to 60 werewolves. How many did I shoot this time? Not counting those at the top, maybe 3 or 4, and at the top it was like half a dozen at the most. It was I was really surprised that worked, but it did. I'm sure there are other professionals out there that have said that will work. I'm not saying that I'm coming up with some new great theory, but in my mind, I hadn't watched anybody play it. I didn't know how to do a speed run. I just said, well, I think this works this way. I hope it does, and lo and behold, it did. The goal now is to beat Urias. I know it seems strange because we killed Urias once already. We even picked up his bones, his crystallized bones. So, but we're going to do it again. He jumps down here and poses for us. We take that opportunity to just fill him full away. It's sort of surprising. He just comes there and just stands. Like, I was beginning to wonder if the S.T.A.K.E was going to kill him before he even got down here to fight with, but it looks like he's going to jump, so I'm going to move out of the way. Turn around, one more shot just finishes him off. You can see him dying during the pistol. I figure I want his bones, so I'm going to go pick up stuff while he's doing his crystallization. Pick up the bones and leave. And this room is just too tempting for me, so I decided I'll shoot one now. Just one. Pick it up. And then, oh, there was one there. So I turn around and get it. Waste of time for a speed run. Don't do things like that. At least not if you're trying to set records. I'm just trying to beat the time frame. I got confused there. I was thinking there was a treasure there, or there was a golden plate. The golden plate's actually farther down. Here we're going to get the flask. Trigger a conversation with Heisenberg where he tells you what to do with the flasks, which is basically take them all to the altar back at the center of the village, the place where the Duke is. So we head that way. And here's the golden plate I was looking for previously. There was no path back through the Stronghold, but this little boat ride makes it much faster and much quicker to get back to the village this way. Heisenberg has hinted in that conversation that he wants you to come to his factory and have a conversation with him. He's acting like he might be an ally and be a friend of yours to help destroy Miranda. And you're like, well, my goal is my daughter Rose, not Miranda, but we'll go talk to him. There was a little pathway back there just to the left, a passageway that we didn't go through, that has one of the most often missed files in the Bookworm challenge. Because by the time you get through that stronghold, normally, I mean, it doesn't look like it was that stressful here. I mean, I literally just ran right through it, but you can hear the alpha call. That's the alpha of those big four-legged wolves. And here's my nemesis, the goat. He likes to hit me every time I play, at least once. So we're not looking for meat ingredients for the cooking stuff, but we already completed all that. But those goats are useful for that right towards the end of the game. So you're going to put the 4 flasks into this altar with the umbrella symbol on it. The first one I put in there gives me a cutscene, like kind of a memory from Rose's perspective as far as I can tell. The other 3 don't. I don't know. I've never, for whatever reason, I've always carried all 4 flasks until this point in the game, and then I put the 4 flasks in the chalice at the same time. I don't know if you came at different times, like every time you got a flask, if you came here and put it in there, if you would get more cutscenes. For our purposes, for a speed run, the one cutscene was easy enough to skip. You get another cutscene here as you pick up the chalice. All this cutscene is doing is lighting these braziers and opening a gate. The gate was already unlocked, so opening the gate wasn't particularly helpful, but I guess that's all just to tell you which direction to go. Ethan's gonna pause, and there's like this big rumbling and kind of a shake, like the whole earth, like there's a big explosion, and what's going on, and that's never really explained. I think maybe it's supposed to be Chris blowing up part of the Megamycete. He hasn't found the actual Megamycete yet, but he's probably found some outcroppings. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be, but it's never explained. Put the chalice in this altar. This is the area that we came out where we first got back to the village, coming out of the castle. We came out of a door to the right there that you can't go back in. So that raises that bridge, that kind of stonework bridge, and you're in another long elevator ride. At this point, you've left the flask behind. I don't really know. I mean, they're in the chalice that's sitting there, but you're going to run off and leave them. And I don't know what the thinking is there. I mean, I know what happens with the flask, but I don't know what Ethan's motivation for running off. I mean, he works so hard to get the flask and the parts of his daughter, and he runs off and leaves them. I don't really understand that, but at this point, he's trying to get to the factory to meet with Heisenberg, because Heisenberg hasn't told him exactly how to get his daughter back into a daughter state. out of those flasks. And so he's thinking that Heisenberg's his only... The Duke hasn't told him either. The Duke's kind of led him down the path of getting the flask, but hasn't told him anything about how to get Rose out of the flask. He's hoping that Heisenberg has that answer, so he's going to come up here as Heisenberg is saying, hey, you've done a great job. You got by Donna and Moreau and even Lady D, and so we could be allies and we could take down Miranda. And you start to get a hint of what Heisenberg's thinking. There's going to be this really long cutscene coming up where he explains more that he's kind of in the same situation that Ethan was, but his family's already dead, and he's kind of here against his will. Not entirely against his will, but he's going to take down Miranda, and the way he's going to do it is he's going to build an army of these soldat creatures, which is basically what he's using the Cadu and the mold to infect humans to make these soldats. And what he wants to do is he wants to use Rose as a weapon against Miranda. And Ethan's fine with killing Miranda, but he doesn't want to use Rose as a weapon. He wants Rose back as Rose. He wants Rose to grow up and have a normal childhood. And so they don't come to any sort of agreement. And Heisenberg throws him down a hole. And in that hole, the reason you're doing this is he found Sturm. S-T-U-R-M, not S-T-R-U-M. Sturm. He's one of the soldats that has a huge engine, and the crankshaft of the engine, the output of that, it spins these chainsaw blades that are also spinning, and he's cut his own arms off with them. But he's basically a brainless beast now, and Heisenberg throws you down into a pit with him, and you've run to escape that. Jumping down that hole, you want it down here at the very bottom of the factory. These undead creatures are started as humans as well. They've been infected with the Cadu, and they call them haulers. They're basically the workforce of the factory. They move things from here to there and dig. As far as I can go, it's their only thing. Watch me do the duck dance, trying to run and duck at the same time. Okay. At this point, Ethan doesn't really have a goal other than now maybe to get back out of the factory. He figures the only way out is back up, because you can see it's a huge area and he needs to get up. This is the area where if you wanted to, you could get the quit hanging around achievement by shooting one of those soldats off the conveyor belt. To the left there was the kind of the central hub, if you will, for Ethan in this part of the gameplay. That's where the Duke is, and it's an elevator that he'll move up and down. For us, it's mostly just a transport at a later point, so you can't use it to go up until you've gotten to that level and then called it to there. There's a button here on the right that you go by that's if you touched it, it would say there's no power, and so now Ethan has the task ahead of turning the power on. You can see the haulers are of no consequence whatsoever once you have a stake. The machine to the right there was a molding machine, a casting machine, so it would cast metal into a mold. If you put in a mold, it'll throw iron and metal into it, and it will create an ironwork. That door is locked. Later on, you could access it when the power comes back on too. Really, this is the only place you could go, and so the end result of that whole run is to find this, which is a mold for a relief. And you think, well, what do I need that for? Well, I don't know. Well, let's go back and cast it. That soldat back there came alive. That's the first soldat that you would actually encounter. The soldats are Heisenberg's foot soldiers, if you will, in what he plans to be an insurrection and to kill Miranda with them. You cast this relief. It turns out that there's a spot on the wall to your right, to Ethan's right, at least right now, that the relief fits into, which opens the door, of course. It's the Resident Evil door opening.
Seems useful.
You put the relief on there. This wall is going to pull up and get out of your way, giving you access to much more of the factory. There's a Heisenberg door there. In this run, we won't be going through it. Behind it is part of the combinable treasure of Heisenberg's hammer. I decided that I like the way the rifle feels better than the handgun trying to shoot these things. Sometimes I shoot pretty well, but I think the theory was here I could just spray bullets and I'd hit red dots. So at the last minute, remember there's more haulers. I don't know why some of the haulers carry axes. At one point you'll see them using the axes to kind of dig. You can actually get through without having to shoot those things if you're careful. I forgot there was one more left. I mean, really the goal is to just shoot the dots and don't get so close to them. Like here, I'm moving forward, and I should have been just spraying bullets. My thought was if I just shoot in the same area, the dots will go by it. Should have backed up, taken my time. I've done that before. I'm proof of that. Maybe in my upcoming Village of Shadows difficulties, see that I can actually shoot those. I don't remember if I did it well then or not, but it doesn't matter. Rushing and trying to get the Dashing Dad achievement, I was just spraying bullets. I was in no danger, so I didn't do the duck dance there. I get through. I don't know why. I go back and check this door. There's no particular reason to. Later on, I don't even go through that door. Later on, I should have gone through that door from the other side where you can unlock it, but I didn't. You find a generator here. This will help you turn on the power, except for it needs a gear. And so now you're thinking, okay, I need to go find a gear. And I, for whatever reason, always confuse this area with how it plays on Mercenaries. I guess because it was so hard for me on Mercenaries the first time. And on the wrong path. But when this door opens, in here there will be a mold for a cog, a gear that will go on that generator. And I should go to my right and go through that door. I'm very close to where I need to be, but instead I'm thinking, oh, I can avoid going down that corridor with all the Borg in it, and maybe I won't wake him up. But instead I get here just in time to get hit by this. It isn't hard to deal with even without using the stake, but the door's right there, dummy. Okay. So now we're finally back. That was not the way you should have done that. You should have gone on around when you found the mold, on around to your right, through a door. You'd have come up behind that soldat. You could have killed him in 1 or 2 shots with your stake, and then you'd have gotten here much quicker. General rule in Resident Evil when you're doing speedruns is run forward. Don't backtrack. It seems to always be the case. Go back, put the cog on the generator. That turns the power on. This unlocks that door that was locked before where you found the first mold. You could go there now. Of course, that would waste time in a speed run. The only thing that's back there winds up being a tape recording of Heisenberg as he's doing his experiments with trying to make his soldiers. Turn the wrong way there again, but it probably saved him because now I'm behind this. And I don't go through this next room properly. You should go to your left and upstairs that would then be on your right. Instead, I run around the whole room, taking the longest route possible to these sets of stairs. There's a door there that has some treasure behind it, but of course I don't care. If you'd have come the other way, you'd have already been here. There's a door with a bunch of buttons. It's always nice of Resident Evil to paint whatever it is you're supposed to shoot at red. Just shoot that.
I'm not like my.
That's always the answer.
I want nothing more than to be free of that bitch.
This is another area that I always confuse with the Mercenaries. In the Mercenaries map, this part of the map, you run into Sturm here as well. In the real game, there's almost nothing to do here. Just straight up the stairs, turn around. It's going to be your first encounter with a slide soldier. Slide is 2. So just he has two drills. His button is on the back. You can't even see it from the front. You can waste your time trying to get to it, but on casual mode with a stake, just shooting, the incidental damage of not hitting the weak spot is still enough. Now you're back to that button that we weren't able to push because we just ran by it, but you wouldn't have been able to push it because there was no power. I'll wait for that elevator. I'll just pick up another treasure. Go up into this area. There's another dual soldat. Goes down easily enough. The chest was enough. He's gonna need
You again?
There's Sturm, you get a good look at him. We're gonna run again. You can't actually fight him there. Nothing you're gonna do is gonna do anything other than get you killed. So just run. He hits that door behind you. If you're looking at the door, you can see a big dent forming. We call the elevator here. We're not gonna get in the elevator, but by calling it here, it's moved up from, it was at 4, now it's at 3. And it'll get to where the next time we call it will be at B1, and it only has to travel 2 floors instead of 3, so it doesn't take as long. And we're going into a kind of a mining area, I guess. I don't know. There's these big tubes and there's open digging going on, so it feels like a mine to me. Down to the right, there's actually some things to kill, some haulers there to kill. And we just blow right by them.
I don't give a shit.
Kind of have to deal with these guys. You need to crawl in that vent over there, and so you need them out of the way. Some things to pick up, I guess. And look at that, no duck dance. I actually did that right, but now I'm turning around and I don't remember which way the tube goes. So. This next area coming up is the first time you're going to encounter the jet soldats. These guys can fly. They have a lot of armor. You'll see that the stake, it doesn't really matter, but on casual. But when you get to Village of Shadows, this room actually turns out to be a hard area to get through because they are very fast on that level, very aggressive, and your stake, if it doesn't hit that little red dot, does no damage whatsoever. It doesn't knock the armor off. And coming up the stairs behind you is a blue soldat. It becomes a challenge in Village of Shadows. Probably your first playthrough, if you played through on standard, it was a bit of a challenge in the sense that, like, holy crap, what are these guys? And how do I find them? How do I kill them? Your goal is to stop that big fan, and once again, the creators, Capcom, have given you a bunch of red dots to shoot. It sounds like it might be a bad idea to melt that fan down while you're in here. It may blow apart, but they give you red dots, shoot the red dots. And you can see it melting there. We're going to go find a ladder that will allow us to climb up through it and out of the area. The first time you play, it's kind of like the castle. It feels like this huge area, and you think you'll never be able to learn how to go and what all the right twists and turns are to take. It winds up being mostly one path, one straightforward path. As you open up areas, of course, you could have backtracked, but there's very little reason to. Behind that trolley to that little cart that we ran by, there's an area, and you can go in there, and you would find I believe that's where you find the mold for the ball for the final of the ball labyrinth puzzles. There's nothing in there you need to finish the game, but interesting point. It's kind of hidden. It's sort of weird. It's right there in plain sight, but if you're not careful, you'll miss
That was
it.
close.
If you're trying to get all the treasures and everything. The mathematician. Going to every part of the map. First time we played, it took me a long time to realize I could jump down onto those pipes. I gotta admit, I walked up and down that hallway a couple of times looking for where I was supposed to go. I'm gonna pop out here, another elevator ride up. See, you skip B2 entirely, and you wind up. You started down the first time you saw the elevator. It was at B4. You took it to you called it to B3. When you got to B3, you skipped B2 entirely. You've climbed two flights now. Probably one of them right here.
Don't worry. I'll stop.
Heisenberg's been watching the whole time. You can hear him yammering at you. You find a mold for his key. So
You're the only one who doesn't.
he's still trying to convince you to back off and let him use Rose as a weapon to kill Miranda. That should be the real goal. And Ethan's still not convinced. Understandably, he wants his daughter to be his daughter, not Heisenberg's tool. So when you call the elevator now to B1, that's the door that you're wanting to go through, and you know you just found a mold to cast a key. That key will open that door. It would also open a door that's right near where the mold casting machine is. In that room, you would get the final piece of Heisenberg's combinable treasure, his hammer. We know that we need to go all the way back down to where that casting machine was, which was the bottom floor before. Presumably, it looks like there's a B5, but we started on B4, so. The ball labyrinth puzzle is through the door straight ahead of him there, just slightly to the right, maybe. Of course, we don't care. Not for this run, anyway. If you're interested in the ball puzzles, we have a interesting little short video in our shorts. The playlist is linked in the description of this video, where we do the ball puzzles without actually turning them, so trying to do them mostly blind from one fixed camera point of view. This one, it turns out to be hard in this one. The first three go really smoothly, but this one was a challenge for us. Of course, what's in the video is the nice cut scene, or the nice cut piece where we just took the path when we completed it, not all the failures. So far, I haven't died in this video. Like in the last video, I died twice. If you didn't happen to catch that, it's worth watching just to laugh at me dying to the baby and dying to Moreau. I mean, like, totally unexpected deaths. And me turned around once more, forgetting that I have to go a little bit to my right before I can go straight forward. And the dark, Ethan commented it was dark, and apparently I can't see in the dark, so. Okay. Thinking that's a door. That's not the door, stupid. The door is further down there. Okay. First encounter with the Panzer, and watch how that S.T.A.K.E just strips him of his armor with one shot. It's totally surprising. If you watched our knife run, which the link to our knife run is also in the description of the video. But in the knife run, I tried to strip the armor off of that guy with the karambit knife. It doesn't work. I tried for a long time. I'm completely lost now because of the dark. For whatever reason, I didn't see the door that was right in front of me, and I keep thinking it's that red panel, but it's just to the left of the red panel. Eventually, I got it though. It's not so much that I was lost, I just wasn't understanding where the door was. I was like, I knew there should be a door. Another Panzer. I don't hit it square. was a little harder to kill than the first one. And now you're back to the elevator, and now your goal is to just take that elevator back to where that door you saw. So all the way back up to B1. If you notice, the elevator doesn't really even have a B2. It has a B4, 3, and 1. As if it just goes right by 2. If you're hunting the little goats, the goats of warding for the heretic achievement, there's one that's on the girders for the elevator. It's really hard to see, but your best shot at it, in my opinion, is from B3 floor. Is back where you climb up the ladder there. If you just scope with your sniper rifle up and down that, hopefully you'll see it. It's kind of in the dark though. Some people get it as they at the end of the whole thing when they're riding up the elevator there. And here I was impatient and stupidly ran right out in front of him, but it worked out okay because on casual, it's slow to turn around. And with the spike on casual, it killed him right away. So, normally he's completely invulnerable from the front. And on Village of Shadows difficulty, when he hits a wall like that, he doesn't stand against the wall for like a split second. He flips around really quick. And you can't really shoot him from the front. If you paid attention in Mercenaries, you can kind of shoot the legs a little bit and do a tiny amount of damage. It's kind of the most useful thing about Mercenaries to me is that on the really hard targets you can figure out if there's anything you can shoot that gets you some points of damage. On Village of Shadows, Sturm is a real challenge. I mean a real challenge. It's no joke. It went quick here. We're going to wander in here and we're going to trigger the last cutscene with Heisenberg. And in that, he's still upset at you, but he doesn't kill you. He could have easily killed you there. He seems invulnerable to your weapons. He's turned into a giant mechanical beast, and he throws you all the way back down to the bottom. Thus Ethan's kind of exasperated comment, "Not again." It's because he's all the way back down, like B4, B5 this time, I think. Completely lost. That was Chris. Chris grabs you. He's down here. He built this tank. I almost want to pause the whole video here so I can explain everything that happened, but Chris gives you the whole data dump, and he tells you why he came to your house, why he shot Mia. It wasn't Mia, it was Miranda. Miranda had formed the ability to take anybody's form. Anybody that had come in contact with the mold's form. And of course, Mia had come in contact in Resident Evil 7, as Ethan did. So she came into the Winters' home and played the role of Mia for a while. Rose is actually Mia's daughter. It's not Miranda's daughter, but Miranda came in to play the role of Mia to steal Mia. Chris and his team put an end to that by shooting Miranda. They thought that would kill Miranda, but it didn't. And they weren't sure if Ethan was also infected or if even Rose was infected, and so they didn't explain anything to Ethan, they just took him. And that's how he wound up on the road. And with what he thought Mia was, Chris had killed Mia, and thinking that he's now looking for Rose. So you get a whole bunch of explanation of that. It's not the complete story yet, but it starts to put some pieces together, and you no longer think Chris has gone evil somehow. He shows Ethan that Miranda is in the midst of a ceremony using the flasks that he conveniently left behind for her in the altar ceremony area, and she's trying to get her daughter Eva, not Evelyn from Resident Evil 7, but Eva. You find out how those two are linked later. And he tells Ethan to go to the surface in this tank and wait for him. He's going to plant some bombs and finish destroying Heisenberg's factory, and then he will meet them, and they will go to try to get try to get Rose back from Miranda. Of course, when Ethan comes up here with the tank, he encounters the mutated Heisenberg, and this battle ensues. And Chris sort of saves Ethan incidentally here by blowing up the factory at just the right time to distract Heisenberg, which gives Ethan enough time to stand up and pull out his S.T.A.K.E. And the S.T.A.K.E. is a brutal weapon on casual and makes short work of what remains of Heisenberg. Heisenberg can't believe that he's going to die here. As he's dying, he's saying, "No, I want to kill Miranda, and I can't die. I've got to kill Miranda." Ethan's obviously happy that he managed to beat Heisenberg, but what happens next is going to be in a cutscene that's completely cut from all these videos. He winds up facing Miranda, and Miranda literally rips his heart out and drinks his blood. So Ethan dies shortly after Heisenberg dies here. Unfortunately, because it's a speed run, I can't show those videos. I mean, I could have shown them separately, but the speed run doesn't include those. Our video is going to end here, and we'll pick it up in our final episode, 5th and final episode coming up tomorrow.